Hello, welcome to vlog number 7. Today, I'm going to be cheating again. Not because I'm sick, I'm not sick anymore, but because I have a convention coming up soon in about 2 weeks, UchiCon on January 25th in Chicago. I'm a little bit anxious or kind of antsy, not because the convention itself is stressful or anything, it's just that it's been a long time since my last convention and I feel rusty. I have quite a bit new products since my last convention, and the table at UchiCon is 5 feet as opposed to the standard 6 to 8 foot, so I'm going to have to restructure things rather than relying on my standard setup. So I've been having a lot of thoughts running through my head. However, I can't really start on the setup until next week because it's just way too early. So all I can do is think about it, and it's making me really antsy. So today I just wanted to work on a project that I know I will enjoy doing. And that project is going to be number 10. What this is leftover brown resin that was poured into a silicone soap holder mold. And what I normally use this soap mold for is to make trinket holders, specifically Pokemon trinket holders. In the past, I've made Snorlax, I've made Magikarp, I've made Sandygast. I also had Shuckle and Gengar planned, but it never happened. It will happen someday in the future, but right now it hasn't happened so far. And this one was not planned, but because it was poured, it's gonna be born. So let's start. If you know or don't know, I like to use FIMO Professional for my canes, but for sculpting lately, I've moved on to FIMO Soft because it's just so much easier to condition. Now I have to do my least favorite part in polymer clay, which is conditioning. I think the white can do without conditioning. The black needs conditioning though. It's really, really stiff. Time to sculpt this little guy. Make it into a ball and then smooth out the textures. There's black flakes on this. Just gonna hide it by flipping it inside out. I wonder if those black flakes got there when I was rolling it with my palms. It's a Tootsie Roll! No, it's a turd. Okay, getting black flakes everywhere. I didn't do a good job of cleaning my workstation. Or maybe they're coming from my fingers. It's been a long time since I've sculpted. I think the head looks how I want it to be. I'm gonna use my tool to kind of determine where I want the facial features to reside. I think I should cut this one in half. Twisting the nips. Rolling it on my palm is giving it smoother or more rounded edges, but the body is a little bit bulky, so let's straighten that out. You know, this is kind of like what hamster turd looks like. All right, I'm gonna try to remove the black residue from my fingers using scrap clay. You know, for FIMO Soft, this black clay is behaving kind of like FIMO Professional. It's not very soft. I'm gonna flatten it out just a little bit. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but my phone stopped recording and I didn't realize that until now. But the whites of the eyes are in, as you can see. So the brown part of the eyes are a little bit reddish, and instead of mixing a color, I decided to just take the color chocolate in FIMO Professional straight from the bag. Put this one in half. Hopefully that's small enough. Etch-a-sketch. Time to implant the contact lenses. Maybe the brown was a little too big because it's looking a little bit horrifying right now. Next is the nose. Actually, that's too big. I think I'm liking it so far, but I think the brown was a bad decision. I'm gonna take it out. Yeah, I think it looks better without the brown. I'm gonna fill it up with black. This eyeball got a little bit messy, but I'll fix it after I bake it. So into the oven it goes. Now it's time to clean up all the dust and imperfections with acetone. Yeah, black clay. I need a wider range, so I'm gonna use a cotton pad. Now I'm gonna glaze the eyeballs and the nose with UV resin. I'm only gonna need a tiny amount. Digglet, digglet, trio, trio, trio. I'm gonna cure one detail at a time. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can smell clearly now, the rain is gone. It's a bit of a micro bubble situation going on, so pop, 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 and then, oh no. Thankfully, the acetone will clear that up. Now cure for the full 3 minutes. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna prepare my sand mixture. Now I'm going to add a thin layer of sand to his body. I'm going to build it up. Layer 1, layer number 2, layer number 3, layer number 4, layer number 5, and hopefully this is the final layer. Oh my gosh, I am having such a hard time filming today because I hit the film button, but it didn't film. I am so mad. I am so sorry. But either way, what I did is I mixed my epoxy mixture and then I put it in this cup and then I put sand in it. And I don't know why I'm making so many recording mistakes today. Fuck. Anyways, if you're wondering why I'm using epoxy resin for this, it's because this surface is not porous since it's also resin. And if I use UV resin, it's gonna end up just peeling off because, I don't know, I'm just out of it today. But if you've seen my other videos, I've demonstrated over and over again how UV resin does not adhere to non-porous surfaces. It pops off. And this is also Mr. Resin epoxy resin. So, you know, hand in hand, it'll probably work better. I don't need more dry ingredients. And where should I put this little guy? Right here? Right here. Clear the way! Clear the way for His Majesty! And then surround the Majesty. You know, this Digglet doesn't quite look like it's popping up from the ground. It kind of looks like it looks inappropriate, doesn't it? I know there's always jokes about Digglets looking inappropriate, but it kind of really does look inappropriate here too. So the thing is, I have to add one more layer of resin after this cures, because if this is a trinket tray and you put jewelry in it, there's a possibility the rough sand might scuff up your jewelry, right? So in order to prevent that, I'm gonna add another layer of epoxy resin after this has cured for about 24 hours. When that happens, I'm gonna add just a little bit more here to give it a better popping out of the ground effect. Pop all the marco bubbles. Oh shit. There's wind blowing out the window and I don't have a kitchen. Do I? Oh, I do. I thought I didn't have any kitchen lighters, but one was right there. Okay, well, I burned myself for no reason, but it's okay. Actually, I decided to just wait about an hour and a half for the resin to kind of like stiffen up a little bit so it's not as watery. And now I'm gonna add the sand onto the sides to make it a little bit bulkier and to blend it in better. Because I was thinking if I let this layer cure, there's gonna be a small layer of clear resin, and then if I add sand on top of that, it might make the sand look like it's floating, if that makes sense. So I just think maybe doing it right now would be a better option. I wish the resin was a lot more stiffer, but I got a little bit impatient. I'm pretty sure it's taking longer to get to the stage that I want it to because of the cold weather. So here's what the resin looks like. You can see that there's texture from the sand. Now all I have to do is pour the last layer to smooth out the roughness. I already pre-mixed my epoxy resin, and I realized that when I was doing this, I did not wear any protective gear, not even gloves. I was just like really out of it that day. I didn't think I was until I started crafting, and you know, you saw all that shit that happened. But yeah, it's not a big deal for me. So I'm just gonna continue the rest of this video and doing this resin shit without any protective gear because it's already started. I actually don't know if the resin's going to drip off the edges, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna cover it in hopes. You know what? I should have wiped the surface with acetone or alcohol before I did my pour. Yikes. Okay, we'll just see what happens. Normally, I don't like this like wavy thing on the surface, but for this, I kind of like it because it looks like sand terrain, right? Yeah, I'm low-key digging it. I'm gonna cover it with this just so I don't get a lot of dust inside and wait for 72 hours. Here's the final look. Very, very nice. I'm gonna put some jewelry on here so that it actually looks like I'm using it in the thumbnails. And then the Digglet can hold my ring like this. Your Majesty, make way for your Majesty. Or, no, yeah, that's not gonna work. But anyways, that concludes this episode of the vlog. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye!